Hello, this is Paul Kinkowski, and welcome to the Systems Conference podcast. I'm here with Benjamin Serven, and he's going to be talking to us about Black Sheep Global. And I met Benjamin last year at the Systems Conference. Benjamin, could you tell us a little bit about your company and about yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Paul. Excited to be here. Black Sheep Global is an implementation and service provider around property management technologies. So we've seen that there is a need in the property management business space to help companies get more value out of the technologies that they have. And we've taken a specific focus in LeadSimple and a number of other no-code related softwares like Zapier, Airtable, Monday.com, and many others. So that is really what we do. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. We've been here in business for about 2 years and excited to be at the Systems Con.
So basically, you'll take someone who has systems on paper, systems in their software, systems in LeadSimple that just aren't working right, and will you coach them, or are you just the software thing, or will you coach them saying, well, why doesn't this connect to this, or there's an error in this? What is it exactly?
Yeah, great question. So we have clients who come to us at all points in the journey of process documentation. There's definitely people who literally come to us with nothing. The processes are all still in their heads, and they haven't even taken that first step of documenting their processes. And thankfully, most of the time, those are relatively young companies. There are a few exceptions, though, and we're always excited to work with them because lots of opportunity to see what can be done. But we really work across the gamut with businesses that are already established and already have existing software and systems that they want to optimize, or in some cases, they want to train one of their internal team members to be their processes or technology czar within their company, and we can help them do that too. So we do the implementation, we do the training, we do our best to be a one-stop shop in terms of technology consulting and education. But we also offer the implementation services if you just want to press the easy button and have us do it for you.
And I've found from working with companies that the number one thing that stops people from doing processes is they're like, I don't like technology. I don't want to deal with it. I'm just going to continue to do paper and pencil or some way. My thing to tell companies is when you get with good processes, it increases your valuation of your company by a lot because you're going to start making a lot more money because good processes, you don't miss fees, you don't miss things, you don't get sued as easily. Would you agree with that from the companies you've worked with?
Very much. Yeah, very much. And to add to that, I would say good processes allow scaling. And without good processes, it's really challenging to grow in any capacity. I think for most business owners who start out, we are usually in that seat of doing all of the things ourselves, right? We do the accounting, and we do the operations, and we do the sales and the marketing. But to gradually hand each of those roles off takes lots of documentation and lots of training. And I think most people make the assumption that, well, if I can do this, somebody else can do it too. That's not always true, especially not without some good guidance in the form of some type of written process or checklist or handbook on how to do the job. We often just count on other people to know all the things that we know, which is obviously impossible because at least so far they haven't figured out how to clone anybody's brain. When they do, I may be out of business. But until then, building processes and building tools so that you can help delegate and help scale your company is really that key component that has to be figured out.
Well, and I've seen a company that had over 1,000 doors and no processes, 2 key employees that could run everything, that basically knew and had amazing managerial skills, and so they weren't drowning. And then one of those employees got sick and left, and then the other one had too much work on their plate and left. And they were losing like 100 doors a year plus because once those employees left, they went downhill. So if your company's running well, my point is always, if you get hit by a bus, is your company going to be doing well for your kids, for your wife, for other people? Because you could have a couple employees that are able to motivate people to do the impossible of running things without any organization. but eventually you're going to get hit by a bus.
Yeah, and I think the question you have to answer also is, what if your employees get hit by a bus?
Yes.
Because you can get hit by the
couple-
bus, right? And in that exact scenario you described, I've seen that, and I've even seen scenarios where a key employee has used their knowledge to manipulate and blackmail owners into giving them more money or more authority or all these things, and the owner had to acquiesce to that because that individual had so much of the business's systems in their own head. And so there really are some dangerous scenarios that can happen if you're trying to create this new thing, right? This business that lives and breathes and provides value in the world. It really does take quite a bit to remove yourself from the equation, but also to make it not so reliant on any individual person, that it can thrive and grow regardless of what the world happens to throw at you.
So that's why I always say the systems conference, using companies, using whatever, learning how important systems are. Even if you are someone who's like, I don't want to do systems, coming to this conference and learning the importance of systems and how it will increase your business, and then getting the right people in place that can grow your business and make it more valuable. I mean, it's a no-brainer to spend money on. I mean, there's a reason McDonald's does well. They don't do well because of quality. They do well because of systems. They do well because everything is the same around the world and they do it the right way. And, I love McDonald's in the sense, because the systems guy, I love to see the systems change at McDonald's. They don't stay the same year to year.
Yep, but they're able to roll it out successfully across their entire franchise. That's the really crazy part, because they have a process even for expanding their processes. That's wild.
Yeah, no, they are a really interesting model to watch. So I know this is your first time sponsoring the Systems Conference, but you went last year, correct?
I did, yes, sir.
And you went just to see what it was like and to see if it was something that was going to be valuable for you. Why did you decide to become a sponsor of the Systems Conference?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, as mentioned, I had the opportunity to attend last year. I had heard lots of really good things about the Systems Conference, but hadn't had the opportunity to attend previously. So last year it was on my must-attend list, and I made it and enjoyed it so much. It was really great just to connect with all the different people who are in the industry and to have some very practical and deep conversations with different individuals who are attending the event. In addition to that, there were some really cool relationships with some of my existing clients and new clients who I was able to meet in person. Having the opportunity to connect in person after working with people at a distance is always super fun too. So our decision to be a sponsor this year is certainly one that's based on our own self-interest, right? We'd love to get more exposure and get to know more people, but really our vision as a company is trying to make property management technology more accessible and making it easier for people to learn and easier to understand. So if you come to our sponsored room at this event, what you're going to find is one massive workshop. We want everyone who comes in the door to have conversations with us and talk about practical problems that they can solve in their business, where we can apply technology, and we'll help you even do it at the event. I wasn't a sponsor last year, but there are a number of people who left that event with a few extra zaps that they didn't have when they got there, and introductions into some new technologies. They're now able to leverage some of the tools that they already had in ways that they never could before, just because we sat down and had a conversation and I showed them a couple of things that they could do. So, that's what we're hoping to accomplish, just to make tech knowledge and education a lot more accessible. And that's what you'll find if you stop by our room.
One of the things we're adding this year, I don't know if you know, we're adding this, and I'm sure you guys will have someone manning this, is the Genius Bar. I don't know if we're going to be able to call it the Genius Bar, but right now in my head, that's what it's kind of like. It's
a
the
Genius
Bar.
Okay.
And anyone who has a technology company, we're going to have an app this year for the conference, and you will be able to, there's going to be 12 tables in there, and we're going to have one-on-one support where you're going to get a 30-minute block with someone from Lead Simple, someone with Black Sheep Global, someone with Z Inspector, someone with any of these technology companies, and work one-on-one with them so that you can advance your skills. So I'm sure Black Sheep Global will probably be putting someone in the Genius Bar, correct?
Absolutely.
So I do think that's going to be an amazing thing, because if you come to this conference, not only can you listen from what other property managers say on best practices, but you can sit one-on-one with someone who built a company, helping your business. And you can sit there and say, hey, I don't like this product about your product. Rent-Buying will be there. They'll be in the Genius Bar. So I'm thinking you guys will like that, because, that was something that us and Lead Simple kind of talked about last year. And I said, I really want a place where, people can go and get help and get immediate help, and block a time with someone. So that's something that I'm excited about. And I'm sure that will be kind of what you did, passively last year. Now people will be able to book a time with you on the app.
Yeah, I think making that a formal part of the event is going to be fantastic. I'll be very curious to see how many people flood that room and how long the lines are. But I think that's going to be amazing. It's such a great opportunity to connect with the different software providers. The reality is that all of these softwares are very much driven by the feedback that their users give. And even though they can't make every single thing happen, they need that feedback in order to get better. And I know Lead Simple in particular is rolling out a bunch of exciting changes over the next couple of months that we'll be able to see the benefit of by the time we get to this event in January. So I'm super excited about that. But I know that's true for the other companies too, like Rent-Buying and other of the PMS systems.
And there'll be no lines, because you'll be booking a 30-minute session on your phone.
Oh, there you go.
And you will show up at your 30-minute session. And we have 12 tables with 12 people doing it. If someone doesn't show up, you can jump in. But our goal is to have it be something that I want to meet with someone, and then you'll be notified on your phone, basically, hey, you have an appointment at 9 to 9:30. Some companies will have a session all day long. They're going to be back to back to back. People will be able to choose. When the spots fill, the spots fill. But we're going to have a couple days with the spots, so everyone should get at least one 30-minute session, if not more.
Love it.
So, and again, if it's really successful next year, we'll do 2 of those rooms. Like, we'll do what we have to do. I mean, we always try things out at this conference, like the vendor luncheons last year. The participants, the vendors, everybody loved them. Those were like off the charts. People said they were the best thing, because people got to go to lunch with 8 or 9 people, sit down and talk property management. And they said it was so much fun because it was a small group. We force you to sit with people you've never sat with before, because you're with different companies, which is a really cool thing, because otherwise you just hang out with your friends, you talk about the same thing. When you go sit with new people, you get new ideas, because other property managers are doing things you haven't done. I had 1,000-door company say they learned something from someone with 100 doors, and they're like, we're going to implement it because it was an awesome idea. So it doesn't matter the size of your company, the ideas, when they're flowing, just help.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that I think it's a truism that every person in the world, property managers notwithstanding, is always looking for affirmation that they're doing the right thing. And one of the ways that we find that is by social proof, right? We look around, we see what other people like us are doing. And exactly what you described, Paul, of being able to have those conversations and share ideas and get exposure to things that you're not doing is really that big opportunity, right? We see, oh my gosh, this thing that I'm doing is actually a terrible idea. I could do this totally different thing that would be so much better. Or you get the confirmation of, well, I am doing the right thing because I can see these other people who are ahead of me have more doors or bigger organizations or are more successful. This is what they're doing. So I'm in the right crew by taking this action. And I think that's super important. And another amazing piece of why these events are so great is because you have that opportunity to really take some of the ideas that you are running with and implementing and see, are these really the best ideas? Maybe there's something better out there. Of course, you got to be careful not to take home too many ideas, but you know how that goes.
But that's why we have you time to implement it at this conference. You don't just take it home, you implement
Absolutely.
while you're there. So, okay, now we're going to get into nitty gritties about your company. Which system in your company, just for yourself, we really like to get personal on these things, do you think needs improvement and is lagging in your own personal company? So not something that you You teach other companies, but I'm sure you have systems within your company to make your company run, because you wait until property managers have good systems and not have systems yourself.
Yeah, it's a great question. So our most underfed system in our business is our marketing arm. We have focused very much on our operations, and that's really been it for quite a while. And we built out a really strong operating system, and we're bringing in different new team members who can serve and assist our clients. And we've got lots of great feedback from our existing clients, but we really haven't spent significant time in marketing the business and what we have to offer. Thankfully, that hasn't been a problem, because we have a waiting list of people who want to work with us. But the reality is that we can never assume that business is always going to be waiting for you, right? So as we try to continue to expand the reach of what we can do and the capacity of our company, we also want to expand our marketing efforts and create things that are a little bit less people heavy. Obviously, in the property management business, if there's a strong recurring revenue element, and the beauty of the home that you're managing is that once it's occupied, it typically should stay occupied with relatively minor input into that ongoing occupancy. But if you're doing something that's a little bit higher touch, where you have, like us, we have weekly calls with our clients and regular touch bases and Slack channels and email support and all these different things, that can be a major time suck. So we're really trying to explore not only how do we market better as a business and have broader exposure, but also how can we develop in our business to provide products and services that ultimately for us take less time, but have a larger reach and a more expansive audience. And one of the things that we're doing there, we've recently developed a social group and educational platform called Processes Made Simple, where we are taking all of the technology that we use on a daily basis and implement with our clients, and teaching people how to do exactly what we do. And we go into very great depth. We talk through everything. So we have multiple calls a week, and that's being an exciting new way for us to expand, but we're still learning, and there's a lot to figure out there.
That's awesome. What do you feel is as a company, the process that you feel you guys are succeeding on? Like, that's something that you do really well. You've been working on it for years, and you feel like you kind of got it dialed in.
Yeah, I would have to say our operational process. So we have a really strong system that churns out consistent results. Our clients are very happy with what we deliver, and we're able to do that on a consistent basis over time. So that is really the cornerstone of our business. And to steal a term from Mike McAllowitz, it's our queen bee role for the company. Everything is centered around operations. So that's been a great spot to start. But as I mentioned, building the marketing, building up the other arms of the business that support that QBR, that's really the next step in our business.
Awesome. Well, Black Sheep Global, they're going to be at the Systems Conference. You're going to want to be at the Systems Conference. Benjamin is a world of knowledge. I've sat down and talked to him at his booth on days when I was at the NARPM conference. Even if you don't use their product, the great thing about this conference is every vendor, every participant there is there to help each other. So Benjamin will be there to answer questions, to talk to you, to ask you. So if your business has 20 doors and you can't afford to get a systems in place, Benjamin will start to work with you and talk to you and give you some ideas of what you should start thinking about. So when you get to a few more doors, I would say you start your processes right away at the beginning. Process is the most important thing. But we also understand that when you have less doors, there's a budget, but you do need a budget to get these processes in place, because as you grow, you're going to want to add staff, and you're going to need to have good processes.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're in that spot of being new in business and having a lot of things that you haven't fully developed yet, definitely stop by our booth and stop by our room. I have a full suite of process templates that I'd be happy to give to anyone who asks for it, that will help you take that first step in beginning to document your processes. They're a compilation of best practices that I've seen across the industry. And we've worked with about 200 different property management companies, so we've seen a thing or two in terms of size and scope and approach. They're not perfect, but they're really not intended to be. The goal is to give you a jumping off spot where you can start thinking about, what does it look like for my business to have processes and to run in a consistent and scalable kind of way. But yeah, stop by our room or our booth, and we'd love to share that with anybody who is interested in it. And also ask us about our services. While today we have no capacity, and that's a good thing. We love to find some people who we can continue to assist. And even if we don't have capacity, then our Processes Made Simple group is open and available and a great spot for you to start learning about how to document your processes, the best ways to implement them in whatever technology system that you choose to run your processes through. And we'd love to help you do that any way we can.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Benjamin, and thank you, everybody. And remember, the PM Systems Conference in January, you're going to want to be there. Just get your tickets now. It will sell out, and it is an amazing event. We have amazing vendors, great people speaking. It's a lot of fun. And the difference between our event and normal event is on the last 2 days, there is 12 rooms of activities you can choose from, not one or two. 12. The biggest complaint I have at the Systems Conference is there was too many choices and I had too many things I wanted to do and I didn't get to see it. You are going to have too many choices and you're going to have some great speakers. And the reason we have so many rooms is because we're trying to keep it small. We never want in the last 2 days it to be more than 20 people to a room, so you can ask questions, so you can talk to people within the room. And all of our sessions are teaching for the first half and implementation for the second half. So it's all about getting it so that you get something done when you leave the session. So everybody sign up for it. Benjamin, thank you so much. Black Sheep Global, we were very excited to have you as a sponsor. We were excited for you to be there last year, and we know you guys are doing great things. So thank you so much for being a part of the Systems Conference.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Paul.